Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we're taking a look at a release from the Transformers Legacy Evolution line, and I love just how deep they're going. We're taking a look at the star of the classic G1 episode, The Golden Lagoon, the Paradise Parakeet, who also happens to come included with its co-star, Beachcomber. As I said, this is a release under the Legacy Evolution line. And wow, I have to say, this is a really cool set. Few things to note right off the bat. The Paradise Parakeet is incredibly small. Um, we're talking about a bird that is made entirely of soft rubber that it's actually, because in New York right now it's very humid, it feels very sticky, and I'm concerned about it melting. Also, unlike the packaging, there's virtually no paint details. The beak was supposed to be yellow. I do believe the eyes were painted, but that's about all. This figure, I am issuing a pre-lost warning on. I don't know if it's figure or accessory. Well, I'm issuing a pre-lost warning that it is so small, I can see it actually falling out of the packaging. It comes wrapped in tissue paper on the back of the tray. Now, as soon as this review is over, it's going back in the box, but it's going back in the box in a dime bag that I'm borrowing from my sister, um, because I'm afraid of it being able to fall out, just out of the tray, come unwrapped. Much like Lowlight's Bullet, which I'm sure if you guys remember the old G.I. Joe reviews, somebody at Hasbro needed to ask themselves, just because we could, doesn't mean we should. Now, as you saw, the Parakeet can peg into some ports here on Beachcomber in both vehicle and robot mode. And of course, it is compatible with other figures, but Beachcomber was really the only one who interacted with the figure. This is a nice update to the original figure, as well as the Titans Return version. One noticeable addition here is the fact that the wheels are rubber, and there's a little bit, gives them a little bit of a give, so you can have that like dune buggy suspension. Coming up on the front here, you can see that the front grille is actually made up the figure's weapon. Now that can of course be removed and left off, or you can turn around and the gap between the handle and the main part of the blaster forms a C-clip that can be attached there, so you have a vertical weapon. You know, in this position, this kind of, if it was redone in green and tan, you could have a transforming G.I. Joe Awe Striker. Just food for thought. I mean, they've already done the Awe Striker as Bumblebee, but, again, that figure could have been um, Beachcomber, and I think it would have worked better. So, other than that, the paint detailing is minimal. It's close to what the original toy was. So I think, give me a moment here. We're going to pause. I'm going to adjust the camera, and we're going to get on with the transformation. Okay, so I feel that I've given myself enough space, and I mentioned it in the intro, but because of the humidity in New York, I have to say, when I handled the figure, I mentioned the parakeet, but also the wheels. They're starting to feel a little gummy, like I'm feeling like a texture to them. So we know from history that rubber wheels on Transformers do eventually start to break down, and I wonder if the humidity is going to make it that much worse. Now, the first step for the transformation is go ahead and remove the Paradise Parakeet. You can leave it in, and if you're not in a controlled environment and you have this out, I would, until you're ready to move it to another position, and remove the blaster. Once that is done, transformation is fairly simple. First thing you want to do is separate the two sides of the roll cage. Come underneath, open up these bottom panels here. And what you're going to do now is a little wiggle jiggle that will allow the arms to unpeg. They peg into the side, and then there's a tab that goes into the front. And now you just rotate this entire section outward and down, and it will just fold out like that. When going back to the buggy mode, the instructions show you pegging the arms in as one of the last steps. I recommend just pushing them in beforehand. It just would be a little bit easier, and then I find then getting the tab lined up is a little easier. There's enough give here that it will work. At this point, you can go ahead and rotate down this back part of the roll cage. It will actually... Oh, no, actually, you don't want to do that yet. First, you want to do is slide that down on the track and then rotate it in. Oh, you should have done that first. Rotate it down, slide it down on the track, and then press it in. There's two tabs on the half of the roll cage that peg into the blue there. Unfortunately, I don't know if you guys really noticed, if you rotate it down first, and you rotate it down all the way, you slide it into place. It didn't lock. Wonder what the problem was. Like when I did it, it locked up. Well, anyway, there's two tabs on the roll cage, pegs into the slider there. That reveals the face. Coming back around, close up these panels, separate the legs, fold back this, what were the seats. Now, again, in buggy mode, these are supposed to peg into that framework, and they really just sit there. They don't exactly peg in, just a little notice there. And then go ahead and flip up the other half of the roll cage until it stops. That'll form the heels, and there you have Beachcomber in its robot mode. Now you can come in, take the Paradise parakeet. You can have it in the forearm there, or there are blast effect ports on the shoulder that the parakeet will fit in. Give Beachcomber its blaster, and there you go. Oop, I just made him spin around. In terms of, like, I was looking for, like, weapon storage or something, and there really isn't any. You can, I guess, store the weapon here if you're not using it for the parakeet on the forearm like that. Those holes there aren't deep enough. But in terms of the articulation, you might have noticed the fists do rotate. That's kind of cool. Head's on a ball joint. Very expressive. Universal joint at the hip. 90-degree bend at the knee. And of course, ankle pivot. Oh, and you do have a waist swivel. So it's nice that they were able to work that track in and peg the roll cage in and still maintain the integrity for the waist swivel. Other than that, there's really not much more to say. I think what is this, wave 4 of evolution already? I got the figure from Command Store, so there's that note. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. But let's pause, and we'll get to my final thoughts. I really like this version of Beachcomber. But with that being said, there's not a lot new or better here from the Titans Return version. So if you're quite happy with that Titans Return version, I don't know if you necessarily need to upgrade. The hand weapon and the rubberized wheels are nice, but that Titans Return version, don't forget, could actually fit a Titan Master, so it could fit somebody in the canopy. I wish they could have found a way to include that play value with this figure, especially since it is larger than the Titans Return version. Now, as I started to say, I got this figure off of the command store, where I got the rest of Wave 4, I think it is, of the Legacy Evolution. And so it is available now, as well as other figures if you would like. Not sure when these will start showing up at retail, but if you're going to wait that way, I'm sure you can pick it up from there. I did hear that Amazon updated their shipping on Beachcomber and the other deluxe class figures to Sunday. So some of you might have been charged already, and the figures are en route to you. So in that regard, I hope you do enjoy Beachcomber as much as I have, because there's a lot of history with me in this figure. I had the original toy and loved it because it's the right shade of blue. Uh, I did something to annoy my sister, so she felt she was empowered to punish me. So she took my Beachcomber and hid it away from me. And when my parents tried to get her to return it to me, she lost it, and it's never been found since. I mean, and I've never had the figure replaced. Really don't know what happened. Very upsetting, very annoying, but stuff like that happened a lot back in the day. That I would misplace stuff and completely forget where it was, and it was gone forever. Not including the Transformers that would get destroyed as soon as I took them out of packaging because the instructions were not that clear and I was not that patient. But while I have you, let me also strongly recommend that if you've never watched the episode, do check out The Golden Lagoon. It is one of the great episodes of the G1 series. I think it's a great example of 80s television cartoon writing. I think a lot of people are far too dismissive of 80s cartoons, especially Transformers. And this episode was a great example of how to convey a message and a point without hitting you over the head with it. Remember, when you're trying to convey a message or share a thought, you're not looking to change somebody's mind. You're looking to make them think. And that's what this episode does. So that's about it for the review. If you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps with the YouTube algorithms. I do have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. And you guys know the spiel by now, so I'm just going to say, once again, this is your old pal Chuck for Paradise Parakeet and Beachcomber. We will see you